JKB back with another episode. Today on the show I'm reviewing and unboxing one of the most amazing collections I've ever seen in my life. This right here is the complete franchise of Friday the 13th. This means more to me than you can imagine, and a very special shout out to the person who got this for me as a gift. I mean, I'm not gonna get it's ridiculous. This thing is something I've dreamt about since I was a young kid. Getting the whole franchise in a collection with these special features is something to a fan that means so much. So let's get into the unboxing and review of the ultimate collection of Friday the 13th. This collection contains all 12 films from Friday the 13th, the series franchise. It is spectacular to see them all together here, and as you know, if you're a fan of Scream Factory, these things come with amazing details in them that most studios just overlook. For instance, I will go through each disc and show you the alternate covers for each of the Blu-rays as well as the discs themselves. So let's start with the first film here. Friday the 13th, which is what kicked it off all in the beginning, is one of the most important films of all time in terms of horror, but this on disc has something very special with it, and that would be the uncut version. So getting the uncut version on Blu-ray is a real treat for fans out there. And going over what's on each of these discs would be a lot of work. I can list it on the screen, but I'm not going to go into detail of each thing. But I will say that this is from a 4K transfer of the original negative, so it is spectacular to see the original film in all of its glory on Blu-ray. It also has, like I mentioned, the alternate covers, and for the first one, this one really, I think, is one of my favorite alternate covers for the Blu-ray. Moving on to the second disc, we have the alternate cover up. I love this one as well. You can of course switch it around if you feel fit. All you have to do is switch it in the case and put it back in. That's what's spectacular about these collections, and especially about Scream Factory releases. Now, the second film is one that some people don't really enjoy. I don't know, like, this is where Jason obviously is back, but we haven't seen his iconic mask yet. We get into that a little later, maybe soon. But the second disc is another perfect representation of the genre at that time period. Having these alternate covers is something I find so special for the collection, but not just for the collection. As a fan out there, to see all of these alternate artworks, it's just amazing. Now, something very special here is that the third film is a 3D disc. That means you can watch this film in 3D, and the alternate cover is one of my favorites in the series because it was obviously designed to capture that 3D feeling. So you do get the alternate artwork on the disc, and then of course inside you'll notice it is a 3D Blu-ray, which is one of the most amazing things ever, to finally get this as a fan and be able to watch it on a 3D TV. Oh, from the 4K scans, it looks so good. Next up, we have the final chapter, and this is again, there's another one of my favorite covers. They're all my favorites, let's be honest here, but this time around, very simple, very elegant, simple design from back in the day. The final chapter, of course it definitely was the final chapter, but this is one of the special ones to me. I think I really did grow up watching the final chapter, and the alternate artwork on this one is again another very special thing for me because I saw the poster growing up as a kid, but seeing the original artwork on the flip side with the mask and the knife in it, that's something that I think a lot of us grew up seeing in VHS stores or rental stores, and it's amazing to see once again in this collection. Next up is Friday the 13th, Part 5, A New Beginning. This one for me was something I didn't really see as a kid. I do remember the alternate poster for some odd reason, but I don't remember seeing it when I was young and going around the VHS store. It was just something that kind of went over my head for some reason, but new commentary on this one. Can't wait to check that out. Next up is Friday the 13th, Part 6. This is one of the ultimate posters of all time for me, so seeing this in the original form on the Blu-ray is unbelievable. We've got a new commentary track on here, so once again, if you've been a fan of this series, it's something you need to check out right away. And one of the weird, I was going to say cool, but it's also weird. One of the weird things is that the disc doesn't feature alternate artwork. You flip it over and it's just essentially a photo of Jason from the film. So it's a little disappointing to see that for some odd reason on Part 6. And I hope it doesn't continue as I open up these Blu-rays. Now we're on to Friday the 13th, Part 7, The New Blood. This is one that I think a lot of people, again, either love or hate. I personally really enjoy this one because they copied other franchises out there. I mean, you could say that this whole franchise is essentially a copy of something, but at this point in time, they really ran out of original ideas, but I still like the idea. And at its core, it's one of my favorite films out of this series. And again, as I opened up the disc, I was a little disappointed to see there was no alternate artwork in this one either. Now we move on to Friday the 13th, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan. Now, as a kid, this trailer was all over the place, and I am happy to say here, oh, no, I'm not. We don't get alternate artwork again. We just get a shot from the film. Now, you'll probably remember this film mostly for the scene with Jason Voorhees in New York Times Square. Other than that, the budget fell through, and you'll get into detail in the commentary track on exactly what happened with this and why it mostly takes place on a boat. But for nostalgia purpose, it's cool to see this in the collection, and I mean, obviously, I love it still. Next up is a film that really took the franchise in a totally new direction, and at the end really hinted at something that we actually got in the future. Now, this includes an alternate cover, which I'm very happy to see. However, I can't confirm if this is really an alternate cover or something they just created for this disc. It is amazing to see that both the unrated and theatrical version of this film, which I didn't even mention yet, Jason Goes to Hell, is here. You get both copies. Now, evil has finally found a home. Well, there's a couple scenes in here where it definitely finds a home. But in saying all that, it's something they did. And it's something you gotta respect now. And looking back on it, I kind of really enjoy it for some odd reason. Now, we're getting down to the last 3 films in this series, starting with Jason X. Evil gets an upgrade. So with this, we do get an alternate cover, kind of? I don't know. I flip it over and it's the same thing, unless I'm blind here. The only thing that changes is the spine itself. So it's more in line with the rest of the collection. So it is cool to see that they actually did do that. You've got the original Jason X on one side, and then you've got the classic Jason X on the other side, which does stand out in the box set. In here, you're going to get new interviews with Mr. Cunningham himself, the creator of, this mayhem. Well, I should say he helped create it. I mean, he was a producer, and, there's a writer, and there's a whole legal issue happening behind the scenes right now of who really created Jason and Friday the 13th. But let's not get into that because the fans got this, which is amazing with what's going on with the franchise behind the scenes with lawyers. It's amazing we got this. Now, this is such a nostalgia trip for me. We've got Freddy versus Jason in all of its glory here, but I have to say the collection of special features on here, I've kind of seen them before, so it's not that spectacular. If you're looking for a new commentary, you're not going to get that here. You're going to get the old one that we've all heard, unless you haven't heard it. But you do get an alternate cover, which is splendid. I mean, you get the teaser poster, and then you get the theatrical poster on the other side. So as a fan of Freddy vs. Jason, it is really amazing to see it in this collection. And then once again, you get the spine of the classic font, which is very special for me, at least. I mean, it's amazing seeing this all put together. Well, the last film is the remake, Friday the 13th. This was produced, as we all know, by Michael Bay, and there's no explosions, oddly enough, or maybe there is. Maybe a boat explodes, but a lot of people didn't really get into this. I know it kind of did well, I think. I'm talking off the top of my ass here. I don't honestly remember. But for fans of the franchise, we got a more brutal, massive Jason in this, and some people weren't keen on that. Me personally, I haven't seen this since it was in the theater, so it's amazing that I get to check it out. And once again, you get the original side, and then you get the poster that was in the theater, plus the alternate text for Friday the 13th. And on this disc, we don't really see much new here, but we do get the extended version, which is the uncut version. The last two things we have in the box are a book that is really amazing to read, and I'm not going to really spoil that much of it. It comes in the box set. It has amazing behind-the-scenes pictures in here, and it tells a little bit about each of the films and why they made them and how they did it. So it is amazing to have that in the box set, but the bonus discs are where it's at. These things are ridiculous, and you're going to get interviews with everybody imaginable from this whole franchise. In closing, this is one of the most prized possessions of my collection. Scream Factory has absolutely knocked it out of the park. The box itself with its artwork is just amazing having up on the shelf. And if you're a fan of, let's just be honest here, slasher films, this is sort of a must-own. I don't know why you wouldn't go out there and order this right away. The collection you saw today is the deluxe version. You can't get the posters anymore. Unfortunately, those were pre-order only. And once more, I need to thank somebody out there. You know who you are. You've no idea how happy this makes me. So as a fan of the franchise, and if, let's just magically say, the producers or the owners of the franchise now are watching this, this is amazing, and I can't wait for the next film. Hopefully you guys figure that out. But if you're looking for something this Halloween to just jump right into, I highly suggest picking this up. It's not going to let you down in any shape, way, or form. It is amazing. So thank you so much for watching JKB, and I'll see you on the next episode of JKB.